Hello everyone, I hope I'm audible. So, can I have a quick yes or no in the chat box? Am I audible, guys? Great.
Yes, Mansa, you are.
Great. So, hello everyone. I hope you all are doing great and having a productive day. And even if you are not, this session will surely do the job. Before beginning, let me introduce myself to you all. My name is Mansha Batra, a core team member of Azure Developer Community, Dehradun, and I'll be your host for today's session. As of now, we are glad to have you here again with us on another step of our journey in the Microsoft Certified Administrator AZ-104 Bootcamp series organized by Azure Developer Community in collaboration with WizLab. So, talking about the speaker, I hope his introduction is not at all required and you all might know him about his amazing work and contribution in the community still now. And if not, let me introduce you all to the speaker of today's session, an amazing leader and a mentor, Mr. Saurav Raghuvanshi, the current lead of Azure Developer Community Dehradun, who is 5x Azure certified and currently placed at Microsoft. And today, he'll be taking you all to an amazing session on Azure virtual machines. We welcome you here, Saurav, and are excited to have you with us. Your queries are welcome in the chat box, and we would like to solve them simultaneously. Also, at the end of the session, we will be having a quiz, and the top three winners of the quiz will be selected as the winner of this week's weekly challenge. So stay tuned till the end. Over to you, Saurav.
First of all, thank you, Mansha, for the great introduction. I am not yet that capable, but you tell a lot about me, so thanks a lot. And second thing is, thanks a lot to everyone joining again on Saturday evening to attend this session. I hope that you must be a very dedicated person because we have, like, if you think today we have completed our 50% of the journey, and if you are still here today to attend the session, then you must be very much dedicated to learn about Azure. So I will not waste your time. We can just start with our today's session. Just to reiterate what Mansa said, by the end of this session, we are going to have a quiz. So the quiz will be based upon what we are going to learn today itself. So stay tuned till the end. Uh, Keep notes, whatever you want, so that you don't you win at least. Yeah. So let me just share my screen. Please confirm if my screen is visible. I hope it is visible to all. Okay. Okay. Thanks everyone for informing. So yeah, let's get started. Sorry, I guess I have opened the wrong PPT. Just a minute, guys. So yeah, today's session is about virtual machine. So first thing you must be asking, like, sort of like till now, in each session we have seen that we used to have a multiple topic in particular session. So why only virtual machine in this section? Like a complete 2 hour is going to be dedicated to virtual machine only. Why it's that? So to answer that, I would start with a question like, what was before cloud? Like, if you can imagine how the things would have happened if there was no cloud. So just to keep you on a same loop, before cloud was there, to just have a database server up and running from Rackspace, Oracle, or any cloud provider in an on-prem environment used to take 1 month, 15 days, at least 10 days to get the database up and running in the physical data center. Then comes the cloud. And I hope you know that, like, the one who know about the cloud started with virtual machine itself, because it was a service who revolutionized the way IT used to work earlier. So it was the journey of cloud computing where it started. So virtual machine is because it was the most oldest service. It used to ask a lot during the exam of any certification. So in especially in AZ-104, you are going to expect a lot of question. If there is one service that I have to say go in depth, I would say virtual machine, because this is the most asked question from this service only you are going to see in the certification exam. So that was the reason this the complete session was dedicated on Azure Virtual Machine itself. So we are going to go in depth about Azure Virtual Machine and cover its key concept. Though it is not 2 hours is not enough to complete everything about virtual machine, but we'll give you overall idea what you can expect in the exam, so that you can go ahead and do a little bit of more preparation and schedule your exam after this boot camp once got completed. So this is the agenda of today's session. So after the question, what was before cloud, the second question that you can have is, what is Azure Virtual Machine? Okay, Saurav, you have told that this is a very important service, but why it is very much important? So Azure Virtual Machine is a scalable compute offering. It is the infrastructure as a service solution that is provided by Microsoft Azure. And whenever we talk about VM, with every virtual machine, we have a CPU, we have a RAM, we have storage, we have some networking services that we are going to see in the console during our demo part. But before that, and there are different ways you can go ahead and create Azure Virtual Machine. One is the way that we are going to see, that is Azure Portal. The second way that we can have is Azure CLI, or we can use our Azure PowerShell. There are other ways also like SDK, but in this exam, we are not expected to know about SDK or anything. The question mostly asked on Azure Portal, CLI, and PowerShell only. So we are going to focus on this part. So what we are going to cover in this complete module. So we will start with shared responsibilities model. So we are going to expect a lot of question about shared responsibility model. Question will ask you based upon scenario, saying that, okay, whether this thing is managed by Microsoft Azure, or the customer is responsible to manage that particular part of virtual machine. So you have to answer that question during the exam. So we are going to cover that part. Then we have planned virtual machine. Like whenever we have to create virtual machine, we have to think about particular services that include networking, storage. So we have to keep on these services in mind, and also the VM families that we have, which service we have to use, which particular VM we need for our requirement. We have to keep these things into mind. So we are going to cover these part. Then we are definitely going to create a virtual machine. Then we are going to connect to virtual machine, obviously. So these are all the things that we are going to cover. Okay, coming to share responsibility model. So in Azure Cloud, we have a share responsibility model. Means security is not one person responsibility. It's a responsibility of both the cloud provider. In our case, we have Azure, and we as a user. So it's both our responsibility. So when it comes to the physical data center or a physical network, physical host, it is a complete responsibility of Microsoft to manage that. You are not responsible to see whether someone get into the data center and steal your data. It's not your responsibility. It's Microsoft's responsibility to take care of that, and they are doing that part. Coming to some share responsibility. So whether it's when it comes to the operating system patching, operating system is both both your responsibility as well as Microsoft Azure responsibilities. Okay. So when it comes to managing the operating system, providing operating system on top of hardware, it is Microsoft responsibilities. But to patch the operating system, to keep it updated, it's our responsibility. Same goes for network control applications. So these all are share responsibilities that come under share responsibility models. And when it comes to the data account and identity, that was completely our responsibility, because we know how we want to store our data, whether we want to make our, like we all have studied S3 bucket. So whether we want to keep our S3 bucket public or private, it's our responsibility, right? Microsoft is not going to secure our bucket if you are not going to put it in a private bucket. It's obvious that we have to keep these things into the mind, right? So this is about the share responsibility model. Okay, yeah. So the next thing that we have is start with a virtual network. Like plan whenever we have to plan about virtual machine creation, we have to think about start with the virtual networks. So whenever we have like everything that comes into the cloud, they must be reside in a particular network, right? So that's the reason networking comes first whenever we are going to create virtual machine. So during our steps, we are going to see that while we are going to create the virtual machine, we have to decide, we have to define the virtual network, the subnet, IP configuration. So these things we have to decide. Then the name of the virtual machine. Yeah, obviously we have to give a virtual machine a name to identify that particular virtual machine. Also the location. It is a very key factor. Like most of the time we used to deploy our virtual machine in any location, whatever we find that uh, okay with us. So we deploy our virtual machine in that location. But it's not a correct way. We have to think in terms of who is going to use that virtual machine. Let's say currently in India, I am designing a web application, but that application is going to be used by uh, uh, customers who are in US. So it's not worth to deploy that virtual machine in Central India region, and to get the content, US customer have to travel all across the 7 seas to get the data from Central India database. So it's not a appropriate way. We need to keep our database, virtual machine close to the customer. There are some other factors also that we can consider. Pricing. So when it comes to the pricing, so every place don't have a same pricing model. So for a same virtual machine with the same configuration, we can able to see that there has been a different pricing model for different location, and these factors depend upon the physical geography of that area. So because of these factors, you can expect that a particular virtual machine costs little bit less on East US, but in the West US it can cost little bucks more for the same configuration. When it comes to the pricing, we also have to think about compute cost and what cost you in terms of when we create virtual machine. It's the compute. How much vCPU we are going to use, how much RAM we are going to use. That is the main factor for the price, and also the storage cost. We used to deploy EBS volume with our virtual machine, so these things will be included in our cost factor for our virtual machine. Yeah. So like this is not very much important from exam point of view, but definitely being a cloud administrator, or if you're wanted to pursue your career in cloud, definitely this is the skill that is quite important. Based upon the scenario, you have to understand what type of virtual machine is required for your uh, environment, for your workload. So that start with the general purpose. General purpose have like a balanced CPU to memory ratio, which which is like good for a dev test environment, or small to medium databases. And there are different other families also, which is compute optimized, memory optimized, GPU based instance. So you can go ahead and check on these particular families, what all different families that are available in Azure virtual machine, and you can use that virtual machine based upon your requirement or your company requirement. Okay, so this you can take it as like a homework for you guys, like to understand, because this is quite a scenario that you get interview question whenever you are going for a cloud based interviews. Like, okay, based upon the scenario they said, okay, what virtual machine you are going to use. So you don't have to think about just only the performance, but think in terms of pricing also, like which is cost efficient for a particular workload. So you have to think in both the manners. Okay, so this is in terms of virtual machine. Now comes storage part. So with every virtual machine, we know that in our normal hardware itself, we see that if we have to we have to run a computer, we need a disk, right, to hold our boot data, to our operating system data somewhere. So for that same purpose only, we have OS disk in for our Azure virtual machine. And then we have a temporary disk. We have a story for temporary disk that we are going to see in the console itself, but it is for like a page swap and these factors. we are going to use temporary disk that is already, like, while creating the virtual machine, it get created. Then we have a data disk. This is optional. Like, while creating the virtual machine, we can add a data disk, or later also, if you want that, okay, we want to host a particular system for our operating system or our virtual machine, you can create additional data disk in your system. And there are different flavors that are available for OS disk. You can use standard HDD, SSD, premium SSD, and ultra SSD. So based upon your workload, you can decide what IOPS you are required, what is input output that is required for your virtual machine, what's the throughput you want. And based upon these factors, you can decide whether you want to go for standard, premium, or ultra SSD. Okay. Now creating virtual machine. So while creating virtual machine, we have to give some couple of basic things into console to create a virtual machine in our environment. Let's start with giving some basic name of our virtual machine. Then on which port we want to open our virtual machine. That can be SSH, that can be RDP. We are going to see this in the demo itself, like which one we are going to use for which scenario. Then we can use we have disk, that is OS disk, a data disk. We have a networking component with a virtual network. We can add load balancer, and in the backend pool, we can add our virtual machine to have a high traffic web server, like to create a high traffic web server. We can have a management, like monitoring, automatic shutdown. We like most of the enterprise seen that, like after 6 p.m. they have to close their most of the workload. So they create an automatic shutdown system. Like let's say that, okay, after 8 p.m. close all the open virtual machines. By this way, they can able to save a lot of cost from their virtual machine environment, because in the night that virtual machine are not going to be used. So these type of management you can apply on your virtual machine. You can add a backup policy for your virtual machine also. It's basically taking the snapshot of your disk, and from that snapshot, in case of any down, let's say your virtual machine is down or complete availability reason is down, from the snapshot you can able to create a IAM, and you can able to launch a virtual machine with that. And also we can add some additional configuration that include scripting. We can able to deploy some extension on the virtual machine while it get created. So now comes the demonstration part, where we are going to create a virtual machine in the portal, and then connect to a virtual machine and install some web server role, and we can use IIS welcome page. But before going to the Windows virtual machine, let's start with the Linux flavor, right? Because we all know that cloud start from the Linux itself. So let me jump back on the console. I hope my screen is visible. Okay. So this is my dashboard. I always used to customize my dashboard based upon my requirement. You can also customize your. So mainly what used to happen that I used to forget resources that is keep on running in my system. So that's why I tagged it in my dashboard itself, so that I can see what all the resources that is already created in my environment, and the resources that I didn't delete it. So these are some resources that are not deleted, but this time I keep it for the intentionally, not I forget this time. So yeah, and I have some metrics and who signed in my environment to have some security checks in my environment. So I keep dashboard little bit attractive for my purpose. You can also do that, customize your dashboard. But let's come back to the virtual machine part. So you can search on the top, you can search for virtual machine and click on virtual machines. I have two virtual machine that is already running, but I'm going to create a new virtual machine. So here I have multiple subscriptions, so I'm going to choose different one. And we, like, every time we want to start with something new, I would highly recommend start with creating a new resource group, because this way you can able to isolate your multiple project or multiple workload, and it is quite easy when you have to delete the complete resources. You can just delete the complete resource group, and all the resources inside that will be deleted. So you can think of resource group as a logical isolation, okay, for your environment. So let's say I have to give a name, demo. So I have given a name for the virtual machine. Let's give name for virtual machine Saurav VM. I'm adding my prefix, and here we have to select the region. Like, so we have a multiple region from which we can select based upon our requirement. So for our, I'm going to use India. Yeah. And for the images, we have different images. We can able to install Windows Server, that is Windows Server 2019, or we can install Linux, and we can install even different flavor of Linux, including CentOS, Ubuntu, Red Hat. So we can install different version of Linux also. So we have a complete customization. And also, if you click on see all images, you can able to see various different flavor that is already available by Azure. And also there is a marketplace from where the vendors of Microsoft can also provide their virtual machine, from which we can select and create our virtual machine also. So we can able to see there are different virtual machines that are available. And there are some virtual machine, let's say you want a virtual machine that has already installed Visual Studio Code. So you can go ahead and select this one and create your virtual machine. Then based upon your requirement, you can able to find a virtual machine that is already there. Like we have seen that for now, we have seen that there is a lot of people writing blogs for their bootcamp. So even you can create a virtual machine with all the configuration ready to have to launch a complete web server where you can host your personal website for your blog. So this is quite a great I would say use case that you can able to use. At the same time, you can have something portfolio for you to showcase for cloud role or anything, any similar role you are looking for in the future. But for this demo, I'm going to just use whatever the earlier we have. Just loading. So we are not going to change much. We are going to keep our virtual machine the same. Okay, I guess it's got changed. Let me just give the details once again. For a BM01, reason I'm going to select India. And for this demo, we are going to keep Ubuntu server itself. And here comes the size. And when it comes to the size, that's what we said. Whenever you hear the term size, think in terms of RAM and CPU. Like you are going to see a lot of questioning exam talking about size of the virtual machine. Then don't think about anything else. Just focus on what is the vCPU you're talking about, or what is the CPU you're talking about, and what is the RAM that is talking about. So you have to focus on that part. And you can see based upon the size and vCPU and RAM, we have different costs. And if you click on more, you can able to see more pricing model and more VM family that is available in Azure. But for our demo, we are going to keep it this only. And there are two authentication methods. We can able to SSH using public key, or we can give username and password to log in into our virtual machine. But for this demo, we are going to use SSH only. And here we have to give a name for when, and it is required when we need to log in into our virtual machine. So I'm going to keep it Azure user only, and give a key pair name. My key, I'm going to give my key pair name. And here comes the port. And when it comes to the port, we need to like assign the port from which we want to use the virtual machine. So for Linux virtual machine, we need to, like, if we want to SSH into the virtual machine, we need to open port 22, that is SSH port. But on this virtual machine, we are going to deploy a web server, and you know that web server is available on HTTPS or HTTP or HTTPS. But because we are not going to use SSL or TLS, so for our demo, we are going to need only HTTP. So we are going to enable port 80. So below you can able to see that it is saying that it is not a good to open your IP address. Is not like, but for the demo purpose, definitely in the production environment, you don't want to do it to open the ports. But for this demo purpose, we can definitely go ahead and do that. And after filling all the details, we can go ahead on the disk part. And here is the disk type that we have talked about. We have premium SSD, we have SSD, we have HDD, and for some reason you will find other options also. So based upon your workload, you can select different OS disk type. But for our demo, we are going to use the default one, that is premium. And here we have the option, like we can uncheck this option where after deletion of the virtual machine also, our disk will not get deleted. So that with the same disk, we can able to create a new virtual machine whenever it required. So it's a great way to have a backup of our virtual machine also. And we can enable encryption for our data disk. But for this, we don't need encryption to our virtual machine, so we are not going to enable it. And here we can add a data disk that we talked about, right? Like for any purpose, if we need additional storage apart from what is already there for CPU, for our operating system, we can able to attach a new disk. But for this demo, we are not going to attach any disk. Here comes the networking. As we discussed, whenever we need to create a virtual machine, that virtual machine is going to be created inside a particular virtual network. So in our case, as we don't have any virtual machine, virtual network, so it is already creating a virtual network, that is demo rg-vnet, and it is creating a default subnet also that has 10.1.0.0/24 and assigning a public IP for that. And here again, it's showing the same, that the virtual machine is open for port 80 HTTP and SSH, which is not a good habit, but for our demo purpose, definitely we're going to do it. Next comes the management, where we can able to manage parts like if you want to enable boot diagnostic. Let's say you've seen that while opening your virtual machine, it takes a lot of time while getting started. So you can enable boot diagnostic in your virtual machine and check whether what's the problem it's happening. Also, you can enable OS disk diagnostic, like whether if there is any problem with the bootloader or any such problem, we can able to you can able to enable OS guest diagnostic also. And there is different way to save your to secure your virtual machine, like you can able to log in your virtual machine using Azure Active Directory itself. So definitely you can able to do it. And here is the option that we have talked about, like enable auto shutdown. Let's say if I forget about virtual machine to shut down after 7 p.m., this virtual machine is already automatically going to be turned off after 7 p.m. So this type of configuration will help you to save your money, because definitely if you are not going to use your virtual machine in the night, why you going to pay for that, right? So you can able to save some money in that part. Next comes the extension. So here we can able to deploy our different extension. Let's say you need some particular thing that get deployed while the virtual machine get created. You can able to specify that what it is called. It's called post deployment configuration. So you can install CloudWatcher or any other particular service that you want, or a PowerShell or any particular thing to be installed on virtual machine while it get created. And for a Linux VM, you can add custom data. And custom data is basically like what we want to install or what we want to do while the virtual machine is get created. So I have a script that I want to paste it. What it's going to do is, let me just paste it first. It's a cloud configuration, and it's going to install an Nginx and server, and going to create just a basic load balance, basic web page to deploy it on this virtual machine. So I pasted this script, and it is from Microsoft Docs itself. So if you want, you can go ahead and you can able to find it in the custom script extension. You can just search for custom script extension, and you can able to find this uh, configuration file, custom data. And then next comes the tag. And when it comes to the tag, it's the best way, and like company and even Microsoft document highly recommend to have a tags. It help you to save your, like, to create a report on the cost, like who used this particular virtual machine or which department it is using. So there are different way to manage. It is quite helpful when you have to cost management or other management also. You can able to do that using tags, and you can able to filter it. So for the filtering purpose, we can create a tags. But for this demo, definitely we are not requiring it because it's not a production environment. Now comes the review and create. Here you can able to see how much it is going to cost. So it is going to cost 3.2276 rupees per hour. Hope, like, if you have to create a web server earlier before the crowd, you have to deploy these particular hardware system into your local data center. Then only you should able to create virtual machine. But now we can able to create virtual machine without having this infrastructure, and we are just have to pay 3 rupees, 3.5 rupees per hour. So definitely it's going to be more cost saving, and this is what push the new IT revolution. What we are talking about, the startups are coming, and startup are more getting trending nowadays. The reason behind this is they can able to save a lot of cost on product management or creating the infrastructure. So they don't have to do a lot of work on the infrastructure. They just focus on their problem statement, what they want to solve, and the rest of the thing is managed by cloud provider only. So that's the benefit of using cloud. So I'm just going to click on create, and it will say you have to download a private key to connect to the virtual machine. Though we don't want to connect to virtual machine, but yeah, we have to download it. So now it's going to create virtual machine. It is going to take some time because uh, it has to deploy the custom script also. Even the virtual machine will get available earlier, but you can't able to find the web server, because it is going to take at least 4 or 5 minutes to get the web server installed and up and running to use. Okay, so till the time, let's jump back to the slide and see what we have more. So that we are going to cover, like, Bastion. And for Windows virtual machine, we need to connect using, we use our DP session to connect to the Windows virtual machine, and it connect on a port 3389. And for the Linux, as we saw, that we have SSH key. Even if you want to have your own private SSH key that you want to store in the cloud and then create a virtual machine, you can able to do that in Linux virtual machine. So this was the virtual machine part. Now we have to go on scaling part. But before that, let's see whether the virtual machine is deployed or not. So virtual machine is deployed, but I hope it is not yet deployed the web server. So this is the basic page where you can able to see the basic features, like what is the resource group of the virtual machine where it's deployed, what is the operating system. So in our case, we have a Linux. Status of the virtual machine, it's running. Size of the virtual machine, that is, we use standard B2S that has 2 vCPU and 4 GB of RAM. And this virtual machine is deployed in Central India region. And this is the public IP. And as you see that we have installed a web server on it. So you can use this IP address to go on that web page, and we are going soon. I hope it is yet to install that particular script. So we are going to go in a couple of minutes. And here also, if you see, you can able to go a little bit deep, like what is the private IP address, what is public IP address, what is the disk, and different features. On the monitoring tab, if you go, you can able to monitor our virtual machine. You have to enable, you can able to enable alerts. on the virtual machine. Let's say if you see that there is a CPU utilization of virtual machine over 70%. So you can able to create alert in particular scenario. So, but for our demo, we are not going to use it. As we just created the virtual machine, but you can able to see some graphs. It is quite helpful in case of debugging. Let's say there is something goes wrong. These graphs will be the key thing that you are going to use to solve these issues. Okay. Here you can also see the activity logs. From here, you can able to see what all the things that are happening in your virtual machine. So you can able to track the things in here. So here you can see that virtual machine is getting created. You have these all of the things that happened 3 minutes before, a few seconds above. And here is the IAM policy. Let's say you want that a user come into virtual machine and just access that just have the access to this virtual machine itself. So from for here only you can able to create IAM users, or you want some other service to use that particular resource, you can create roles for that. So you have complete access to do that. Here comes the tags. As we don't added the tag, we can go ahead and tag now. So let's say name. I'm going to use Saurav. This will tell that, let's say if I was working in any big organization, it will tell that, okay, Saurav has created this virtual machine and using this. Now I can go ahead and apply. Then in the setting part, you can see networking. And here you can able to see all the networking things. Let's say you've seen that we have enabled HTTP port. So here is like HTTP is enabled on port 80 for any source and any destination. Okay. And also we have enabled SSH port for our virtual machine. So you can expect a couple of questions from these fields also. Let's say you have blocked particular inbound traffic, what is happening to the outbound traffic. Here you can see network interface card here in your virtual machine. And this is your network interface card. You can able to configure IP configuration. Let's say for now we have a dynamic IP, but you can go ahead and create, you can change it to a default IP or like a static IP also. So based upon your requirement. But for our demo, we don't require it. And for the connection, we have different way. We can RDP into virtual machine or SSH. We can use Bastion. So there are different ways that we use for our virtual machine deployment. Sorry, connected to virtual machine. Then comes the disk. So we have seen that like we have our OS disk, but we talk about there will be one more disk, right? But you can't able to see that. Let me just show you once back. We have discussed here. Yeah. So there are two disks that is available. That is one is OS disk and one is temporary disk. But if you see here, we are not finding the temporary disk. Can anyone tell where it is? This is the question. So let me know in the chat once you get the answer. Where is that temporary disk? Let's go ahead and create a data disk. I'm going to create a data disk. Let's say disk 1. And for storage type, you can select different storage type. But I am going to use premium SSD, 4 GB RAM, 120 IOPS, and everything is. And I'm going to click save. So now it's going to deploy a disk to this virtual machine, a data disk. Next comes the size. So if you want to upgrade, let's say you are using a virtual machine, but now you want to do some vertical scaling. We will talk about vertical scaling, but from here only you can able to do it. Let's say you are saying that, okay, I have deployed 2 GB of RAM, but 2 vCPU and 4 GB RAM, but now my requirement got increased. So you can able to go ahead and create a higher version of that. But there is some restrictions. Let's say you can able to go in a particular family also. There is some restriction. Let's say if you are in compute optimized, it is very tough to go ahead and create a instance in GPU based instance. But there are some ways. So you can able to definitely go ahead and read that, but there is no direct way to do this. But for different things, like to create a virtual machine in different format, you can go ahead and use this, like if you want to upgrade your virtual machines. you need to know about all these factors, like all these things, because it is virtual machine is get asked a lot in the exam. So you can expect any question from anywhere. Like recently I seen the question uh, from this part only, like the disk encryption. Like we have a disk, how you gonna, like after creating a virtual machine, I have attached a new disk. So what how you gonna uh, do the encryption after creating the disk? So you can expect such type of question during the exam. So to do that, let's say if you have to encrypt the virtual machine, you can able to do that from the advanced setting itself. Here you can see disk. You can select what disk you want to encrypt. Let's say you want to encrypt data disk. You have to then add a key vault in that and add a key to do that, and you can able to encrypt your virtual machine. So make sure to remember from where you can able to go. So in the disk, you can go ahead and click on additional setting, and inside the additional setting, you can create a key vault and key to do the disk encryption. Then you have the extensions. Let's say you want to install extension at the later phase also, that you can do it. Like if you have installed any earlier extension, it would have been shown here only. But as we don't have installed any extension, so it is not showing. Then there is a lock feature that is available, and you can expect a couple of questions on lock. So lock is the way to secure accidental delete. So you can able to create locks. Let's say I'm going to create mm, test lock, and you have read only and delete. So read only just allow user to read the particular this from this virtual machine. They can't able to modify anything. And for the delete, you can able to just restrict that particular person can't go ahead and delete this virtual machine. So you can able to do this. So let's say add a delete tag, and there are some different options that you can go ahead and see, like how the things are happening. You see auto shutdown options, how to create backup in virtual machine. So these factors you can see, and when it comes to monitoring, you can see insights, you can create alerts, you can see the diagnostic setting. There are some question that is seen, that what happen if you lost your let's say there is some problem happening, whether you see that okay, I can't able to connect on port 80 or SSH. So you can go ahead into the test connection troubleshoot, and you can select the IP address from where you are doing, on which port you want to check, and it will show the test result, like what the problem is happening, or like whether it's working fine or not. So you can able to see that. You can, if there is some problem happening in the patching level or anything, you can go ahead and redeploy this virtual machine. So you can able to do that. Let me just go back to the virtual machine and copy the public IP address and paste it here. Hello world from host Saurav VM01. So this is the name of the virtual machine that I have created. So it is what this web page is doing. This is adding a statement, hello world from host, and it is appending the name of the virtual machine that I created. So my virtual machine name is Saurav VM01. So it is attaching uh, that part in the virtual machine, and you can able to see that from the script itself. This is what the script was intended to do. So if you see in the script itself, here you can see, uh, let me just do it. So here you can able to see that it is showing that hello world from host, and it's os.host name. So it's taking the host name from here only and appending it. So this is the what this web server is doing. Let's go ahead and create a Windows virtual machine. I love Windows. So and we can able to do a little bit more on Windows virtual machine. So let's go ahead and create a Windows virtual machine. I'm selecting my enterprise subscription. Resource group, I'm going to select the same resource group, demo RG. And virtual machine, I'm going to select Windows, Windows VM, Windows VM. And it is going to be Central India. And we are not going to add it, like even you can select different availability option that we are going to see later. You can select availability zone, availability set, skill set, or availability set. We are going to see these things, what is it in later. Here we are going to select Windows Server, Windows Server 2019 Zen 2. I'm going to select. So as you must have used Windows virtual machine or Windows instances, can anyone tell me what is the difference between Windows virtual machine and Windows Server virtual machine? What is the key difference? I'm giving a username that I'm going to use it to RDP into the instance, and I need to add a password. So and I have to confirm it so that I must have not entered anything else by mistake. And to RDP into the virtual machine, Windows virtual machine, we need to open the RDP port, that is 3389. As we are going to install IIS server on that, we are going to open port 80 also in that virtual machine. And we can able to save a lot of cost by, if you have, let's say if you have anything on-prem earlier and you want to move into the cloud, so you can go ahead and use your Windows Server licensing, a hybrid pricing model, to save a lot of money on your virtual machine. I don't need to change anything much. It is going to be quite similar to what we have seen in Windows virtual machine, Linux virtual machine. So I'm going to just go ahead and click on review and create. I guess there is something. Okay, so validation is passed. One good habit is to see all your setting here before go ahead and creating it. And also you can download this template to create a same type of virtual machine. Let's say if you have if your company said that you have to create one virtual machine, then definitely you can go ahead and create with the console. But let's say I say you go ahead and create 100 virtual machine, so it's going to be quite tough for you to go ahead every time and enter these details. So what you can do, you can download a template, and from the template you can do automation to deploy 100 virtual machine with that. And you can expect a question from this also, like what are parameter or these factor. So that I would recommend go ahead and while creating the virtual machine, download this and look into the different fields that it has. You will see whatever you are defining here, you can expect this into the template itself. I'm going to go ahead and create, click on create, so that virtual machine get created. Till the time, let me see the chat once. So there is a question like, hello everyone, how to get AZ-104 voucher to write the exam? So as we said earlier, by the end of this bootcamp, the 50 most active participant will be getting AZ-104 voucher with a 100% discount. So if you are an active person, you can definitely go ahead and use the voucher. Bootcamp is awesome. Thank you. Go to the bootcamp. Thank you, Mohat, to explaining everything. Yeah, definitely you have to enroll for the bootcamp, then you have to attend the weekly challenge and be active in the session to be in the top 50. Definitely. Same thing for the swags also. Uh, Include resizing of disk. Okay, definitely we will try to do this in this lab itself to do the disk resizing. Mm, we have the VM inside it. Let's see. Virtual machine is it? Yeah, so Mohit, yeah, like you have seen that, but we can able to mount it on our local system also. So if I can able to do that on our normal Windows home server also to mount. So what's the main difference on Windows machine and Windows server is like Windows, whatever the Windows machine we create, that is license, that is Windows Home or Windows Enterprise, that has a limited number of concurrent user. Let's say we have one user or two user that can concurrently access that virtual machine. But when we have Windows Server, we can have n number of concurrent user. Let's say we have created a SMTP file server inside our Windows Server 290 data center image. So we want that more than 100,000 user go ahead and use this virtual machine to use the SMTP server, because that is going to be centralized server for all your file system. So that is the like the main difference coming to Windows Server and a normal virtual machine that we used to see. Is a client, whereas yeah, it's a client server model, but I can able to go ahead and use my this virtual machine itself, sorry, my normal Windows system itself to work as a client, because it's a client server model. Anyone can act as a client now, or and anyone act as a server. Let's say if you are requesting something and I'm delivering it, so you are a client and I'm a server, and that can be vice versa also. You can also, like, I can request something and you can deliver me something, then you will be the server and I will be the client. So can I add an existing VM on an availability set? So there is no direct way. Definitely we are going to see it. Why it's not we can able to do it, we can able to see it in the next section that we are going to do it. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to connect into this virtual machine. So I'm going to RDP, and I'm going to download the RDP file. So I'm using Mac system, so I have installed a remote desktop, Microsoft Remote Desktop. But if you're a Windows user, it is already available in your Windows system. So you can just open the file. So I'm going to give name, username of my virtual machine, and password. Now this is the simulation environment. So we are going to have a virtual machine inside on our cloud. This is completely hosted on a cloud. So now this virtual machine is getting created. Now it's going to create some, like, all the predefined file to be configured. So let it happen. Then we can see a couple of cool things that we can able to do with IES server on top of that. I'm going to allow the network access to this virtual machine so that it can install anything or configure anything if required. So Windows Server is used for a lot of different things. So you can able to create an Active Directory server. So you have seen that uh, in lot of system, like whenever you join a particular company or a college, you've seen that you have given a particular mail ID. Let's say uh, I have given, like, I recently joined Microsoft. I have given a mail ID which has @microsoft.com. So it must be created somewhere, right? So it's Active Directory where you can able to go ahead and create that. You can able to manage the tree, forest. There is a lot of, if you are applying for like a cloud based role at Microsoft, definitely have a basic knowledge of Windows Server is definitely going to help you. I got a couple of questions from here. So just a small tip, if you are going to face Microsoft interview, definitely go ahead and see how the different role and features work at Windows Server. It is quite going to help you. And if you say that you have a Windows Server knowledge, it definitely going to add a lot of value for applying a company which use Microsoft product or Microsoft itself. So now I'm going to add a role. I want to install IES server on my virtual machine. So I can add a role. So here there are different things that you can install. You can create a fax server in that. You can create a DNS server. Like let's say I can create a DNS server, like which work as a DNS for my local on-prem system. You can able to create Active Directory Federation service or Active Directory domain service on top of this virtual on top of this Windows Server machine. For our domain, for our demo, we are going to install IES. That's all we will be needing. I'm going to enable restart if it is required, though I guess it's not required for IES. But if you're going to install Active Directory or Active Directory Federation, virtual machine is automatically going to yeah, definitely, Gaurav, you're right. Domain controller is one of the use case for Windows Server. So yeah. Yes, so you are not getting any voucher by the end of this session, but you have to attend the complete bootcamp, because we have seen that in these days certification is got exploited. People who don't have knowledge go ahead and do the certification just because they got certification voucher for free without any work. And we wanted that this is not happen to the associate level certification, because it's hold a lot of value in industry. So only people who is dedicated, who is coming on every Saturday, spend time on us. So those people will only get this access to AZ-104 certification voucher. That was the main intention of giving it at the end. And also if you follow like the recent hierarchy, we seen that like the people who are like we seen that India is a ED tech hub. India is becoming an ED tech hub, and but during a recent survey, it was found that only 2% of the people who enroll in a particular course get completed. And the same survey says that only that 2% of the people who complete the course get confident for that skill or go ahead and see the growth in their career. So if you are staying us with us till because we have completed our 50% journey, then definitely you are in that 2% of people who are going to see the growth in yourself. Now we have IES server installed. Let me just minimize it, and let me back to my virtual machine overview page. And let me grab my public IP. Go ahead and copy paste, and you can able to see this web service deployed. So before, like we have seen that now the companies are not deploying their web servers on the EC2 instance. Like we have more services like new services like the web apps or web-based services, which is a platform-based service, or we have a serverless based like Microsoft functions, Microsoft functions and all, where we are going to install our virtual machine, but or web apps. But definitely this was the start where people start using cloud for their web applications. And you can, this is the just a normal page where you can see the web server is already enabled. But let's go ahead and do some customization. Let's see how we can able to customize it and create our own app inside that. So I'm going to click on tools, and I'm going to open Internet Information Service. This was not earlier you can able to see, but now we have installed Internet Information Service, so you can able to open it. Inside the site, if you go, you can able to see the default page. Click on Explore, so it will open the location. So this is the file that is that you are seeing. This is the HTML file. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to edit this file. Open with a notepad. I'm going to delete it, and I'm going to add my custom uh, code that I have recently created, and I'm going to show you in a couple of minutes what it does. This is a normal HTML code that I have created, and I have to copy a couple of images. So let me just copy it from my local. So it is copying the images. Now the images is copied. Let's see whether it changes the virtual machine. Oh, now my virtual machine is up and running. So it is just for fun. I created this web page yesterday itself. So what I love the most, it is not kidding. Definitely, I love the food most. And being in Microsoft, this is the perks that we have. We get a very good foods and everything. And second thing is food with view. So yeah, Microsoft has a great view. So it was for the fun, but go ahead and see some serious stuff. So our next session, that is on 30th of July. So definitely that is on next Saturday. You can come and attend this session. And here is something that I recently read about, that is a cloud adoption. And what it says that cloud is going to be the future of Microsoft. Cloud is going to the future of IT industry. So we can expect like 8% of the complete India GDP depend upon a cloud sector itself. So if you are studying cloud, or if you want to pursue your career in the cloud, so definitely you are in a good field. We are expecting that there is more than 14 million jobs opening will be there till 26. And we have seen that some people are saying there is a recession that is coming. But in the cloud, you can see that the job opening are coming more and more. Let me just copy and paste this URL so that you can also go ahead and open this app. I have just pasted the link. You can also go ahead and see some fooding image of Microsoft Office, and some informative for informating things also, like let's say next session, or the GDP growth. So how GDP is affected by the cloud. So this is about virtual machine. Let's come to some back to our PPT. Can I isolate a virtual machine from each other? Yeah, so definitely you can protect. You can even like protect your virtual machine by creating a virtual VNet, and you can create a private VNet where you don't want to add different you can even create a different virtual network itself to isolate with each other, or inside a virtual machine itself you can not allow any public access to the virtual machine without any public or private IP address. So you can able to isolate your virtual machine inside that. Yeah, you can Bastion host is always a more secure way. If you don't want to open your virtual machine for SSH, or like in any public IP address, if you don't want to give your virtual machine a uh, public IP address. So this was about virtual machine part. So now question comes, okay, we have Saurav, we have deployed a virtual machine on a particular one instance. What will happen if that instance will be down? How my production is going to be managed? If it was in the on-prem system, I would have created a replication and have a multiple backup to do that. How I can able to do that in cloud? So, and even like we have seen that there is some ongoing maintenance that happen at cloud provider side, like in our case we have Azure. So how we can able to go ahead and save our system in that scenario? So we have solution for these things, like whether how to secure ourselves from planned or unplanned maintenance. And we can use by using update domain and fault domain. We can set up availability set also. And these are all the things that we are going to do in this section, like availability set, scale set, auto scaling. So yeah, so there is a very great quote that we all you also must have heard it. So it says that everything that is created, it sometime get some problem. It always happened that in particular machine, because it's a machine, right? In if we are human also, then it also happened. But in machine, somewhere sometime there is some fault happen and it will go down. That's why for any particular service you don't see that it says that it has a 100% like uptime, because there is always some downtime you can able to expect. So there is unplanned hardware maintenance. In that scenario, like let's say there is some flood occur in a particular location, and because of that the complete availability zone got down, or a particular rack, there is some power failure, because of that some particular rack goes down. That is called unplanned hardware maintenance, and this is unplanned. So in that scenario you need to have live migration options available in your virtual machine, so that you can do the warm migration of your virtual machine instances, so that you don't feel any downtime or a minimum downtime. Then we have unexpected downtime, where like there is some let's say some power outage happened, or a particular switch didn't work in a particular rack. In that scenario, how we manage? So in that, it's a automatic migration that is already available, because that's a problem from Microsoft side, like their switch got failed or particular thing got failed. So automatic migrate or automatic healing feature is available. Then there is a planned maintenance, and you can able to see in your dashboard itself, it says that okay, on this time to this time there is plan maintenance that is going to happen. So you can go ahead and see on a particular dashboard to go ahead and look for particular maintenance, so that you can plan accordingly, like whether you want to create a replica for your virtual machine or your database server. So you can able to do that in case of planned maintenance. Okay, so now setup availability set. So to to avoid these features, like our system goes down due to any planned or unplanned uh, failure, we create availability set. And what it does is, like we can deploy our virtual machine in different fault domain and update domain. What the fault domain do? Fault domain says that all two different fault domain have a complete different isolation. They are completely isolated from each other. Let's say if a particular switch goes down, so particular rack can go down, particular fault domain can go down, but it will not affect the other fault domain. So if your virtual machine is distributed across multiple fault domain, you can able to save your virtual machine from heavy downtime. And then it comes to the update domain. What update domain do? Update domain is basically, let's say there is some planned maintenance that is planned by Microsoft. Let's say there is some patching is there, or some new configuration is there. So when the reboot is happening, at a particular time, only one update domain is going through the reboot part. So by this way, your complete environment is not going to go ahead and do the reboot. Your only virtual machine that is in particular one update domain is going to go ahead with the reboot part. So with this approach, what we can able to do is, you can your virtual machine is up and running. Your complete system is not down, because your skill set is there. So even like there is one good approach that you can use load balancer with your availability set. By this way, you can able to distribute traffic in a more seamless manner. And using if in a particular availability said if we have two or more instances, we can able to get a 99.95% of availability as per the Microsoft SLA. So this is what it's saying. What is update domain and fault domain? So that I already told. And what will happen in case of complete availability zone? Let's say you have planned for migration or these things. Okay. Let's say a particular availability zone is down. So there is no rack or no server. Complete availability set is down. Complete availability zone is down. In that case, we have the option to deploy our virtual machine in availability zones, in a multiple availability zones. And by this way, we can able to get a 99.99% of SLA. It is quite close to 100%, but yeah, it's not 100% because everyone follow this hierarchy that sometime everything got failed. Okay, we failed in life sometime, and the same way machines also. So yeah, that's why it's 99.99% SLA. And so in that scenario, what will happen? Like let's say complete cooling system or the two different availability zone has a complete different power system, cooling system, and they are completely isolated from each other. So this way you can able if you deploy a virtual machine in different availability zone, you can able to make your virtual machine available even in case of complete availability zone got down. And there is one more scenario, that is, let's say what will happen if a complete region is down. Let's say there is some zombie attack happen in a particular region. I'm just joking, but yeah, let's say it happened and your complete region is down. Still your application can be able to up and running by having a copy of your virtual machine in a complete different region. So you can able to make your virtual machine that much available. Yeah, what is vertical scaling and horizontal scaling? So it is quite seen that like during our virtual machine, when we are creating our virtual machine, we say that from B to S we can go ahead and do the D series or F series or any particular series. That is the virtual vertical scaling. And in a common scenario, if I have to say that, you can think like, let's say there is a 5-floor virtual 5-floor house. Okay, and you can add one more house on top of it or one more floor on top of it. So this is the horizontal vertical scaling. But at a particular, there will be a limit, right? There is a Burj Khalifa, but it is also has a limit. But we don't want any limitation on our virtual machine system, because we can grow exponentially. We don't know what will happen next day. Let's say next day we get 1 million more user for our application that is hosted in cloud. In that scenario, what we are going to do? So in such scenario, horizontal scaling is preferred. So whenever it comes to the cloud, prefer horizontal scaling. Whenever you see questions talking about sorry, if you see questions talking about horizontal scaling and vertical scaling, favor concept that has horizontal scaling, because this is the more approachable way. So like creating a virtual machine on top of each other, like increasing the virtual machine family, this has a limitation. But how many virtual machine you can scale? There is no limitation on that. You can go ahead and scale as much as you want. So that is the preferred way. And what it says that horizontal scaling, that you scale out. Like let's say you are in virtual machine, you have one virtual machine, you create a replication of that multiple virtual machine. Okay, you can replicate that virtual machine. So this is the horizontal scaling, and this is the preferred way of scaling your application. And we love automation. Like we are like human being are known for its laziness, especially the engineers. So we're known for our lazy work, and it is quite helpful in some scenario. Let's say in the scenario, let's say our application, let's say big billion days sale is coming, or a particular sale is coming, and our whole application is deployed on uh, Azure virtual machine. And at a particular selling time or a peak selling hour, the demand for our virtual machine got increased. So why we go ahead and create this like manual update? Like why we will go and increase manually the virtual machine? We can create some automation. Let's say if the CPU utilization goes above 70%, you can like create 10 more virtual machine or 5 more virtual machine. So you can able to do these things in an automated way. And the more the things that will be done in an automated way, the more the secure it will be. Because let's say if the same virtual machine you have to create 100 times, I am definitely sure that 1 or 2 times you are going to do something wrong. But if you do with the automation template that is going to do the things automatically, It is not going to do, because every time you can expect the same result. And this way you can able to reduce the chances of getting any problematic situation for yourself also, or for the company also. So definitely, if there is and this is also a tip for the exam also, if you are saying a multiple option and in a particular option you can see these things can be automated, go for the answers that are automated, because Microsoft love automation. So if there is any option that can be automated, and there is an option that is there in the options, go ahead and choose that particular option. Definitely that need to be related to that particular scenario, but if there is automation, favor that answer. That will be the tip that I can give you. And creating a skill set, after that the things are same. Instance count, there is a limitation, like you can have 0 to 1000 instances in a particular skill set. And size you can choose as similar to the virtual machine that you used to create. So there is an auto scaling rule that I talked about. Let's say you have a two virtual machine, and you say that if uh, like the requirement for virtual machine or CPU utilization for our virtual machine goes above 70%, increase your virtual machine by 3. So this type of automation you can do that. So let's go on to the console and do that. Auto scaling. Let me go on to the home, and on the top search for auto scale. Sorry. Let me jump back. My screen got freezing sometimes, so I will back to the console once back. So till then we can go ahead. So implement virtual machine extensions. So what it does, you can install a custom script extension that we say that, like, as we in the cloud in it also we deployed our virtual machine script that run an Nginx server and deploy the required libraries that we asked. We asked for Nginx, and on top of that, we want to install the virtual machine. So on top of the virtual machine, we want to that install that extension. So you can go ahead and do that using the custom script extensions. And here you can add the custom script extension. Let's say in case of virtual machine, you want to add some particular feature. Let's say you want custom script extension to be installed or PowerShell desired state configuration installed during the virtual machine creation itself. You can go ahead and do that part. So we're going to see this in action. And this type of script we run already. We install the IS server or Nginx server on our virtual machine to create this part. So this is a demo that we are going to show on custom script. Let me just change my screen so that it will be visible, because I'm facing some issue with my this screen. So yeah, let me just switch back my screen to different screen. Just give me a minute. I hope my screen is visible. Can anyone confirm once? Is it visible? Okay, I can able to see it. Okay, thank you. So let's go ahead and install the custom script action. We can see like how we can able to go ahead and install the custom script extension on virtual machine. So we are going to create a new virtual machine. I'm going to select enterprise, select my demo RG, that where I'm creating all of my resource groups, all my resources. So I'm using demo RG only. So the name of the virtual machine will be custom VM, because we are going to add some custom part in that virtual machine. And the reason we are going to choose the Central Asia only. And for image, we are going to use, let's say Windows Server 2019. Give it a name, username. So I'm going to give the same name as your user. And for the password, I'm going to give password. And for this, there is no need to change anything. Disk will be the same. Let's go on to the advanced part. And here we can add extensions. So let me click on select extension. So here you can able to see different extensions that are available for our Windows Server. What we'll do, it's while creating the virtual machine itself, it will deploy all these uh, extension that you have configured. You can install Datadog agent also. You can install custom script extensions also in your virtual machine. And there is lot of like custom script. Even there are some script that are Microsoft, and there are some script that is uh, customer oriented also, so who want to launch their virtual machine inside that. So these all are custom script that you can able to see. Let's say we want to select Datadog. Click on select. So now what is going to do, it's going to deploy the Datadog agent on our virtual machine. Let's add anything more also. Let's install the application inside also. So we can't able to do this because we need to provide the application insight string here. So let's just select the one that we have already selected. Okay. It is selecting again. Okay. So we have selected Datadog agent for our extension, and click on review and create. I will back to the questions after a couple of minutes. Once this demonstration will be complete, I will see all the questions, as I'm seeing a lot of things happening in the chat. So we are going to, because we have a lot of time, so we are going to cover all the questions that we are seeing. So now the deployment is in progress. Till the time the deployment is happening, let's see the virtual machine that we have already created. So Windows VM we have created. So there is one new preview feature that is quite helpful, at least for me. That is Windows Admin Center. So even without going into the virtual machine itself, you can add this port into your security, and you can log in into your virtual machine from there only. So that even without getting inside your virtual machine, you can able to perform actions like you can see what all the files are installed on your application, or you can manage the complete application from here only without going into or RDP into your instances. So that you can able to do from this section itself. What I wanted to show is the disk part. So here is the disk. So here you can able to prevent your disk from disk deletion also. Let's say you want to restrict people that they even the virtual machine got deleted, but your disk will be saved so that you can use it for the backup or recovery purpose. So you can able to create a lock in this virtual machine to stop it. Okay, here is the size and preferences. So from here you can able to see what size of VM you have selected. So someone asked me how we can able to change the size of the volume. So from here itself you can able to change it. Let's say I want to create 32. uh, so you can go ahead and resize your disk itself from here. Let's see the same for Linux VM. So in Linux VM, make sure to remember the question regarding this, like the disk encryption part. So let me just do that demo also so that you have the complete hands-on part, because there is a question that is asked. If I remember, there is two questions that was asked for the same scenario. So let's say we want to encrypt our data disk. So we have to create a new key vault. Though it demo used to take a little bit time, but we have the time, so I thought about let's create it, show it completely, so that you have the clear understanding of this. Test key. Make it unique. Click on review and create. It is going to take a little bit of time. Till then, we can see our other deployment that is happening. Okay, it's validated. Deployment on that virtual machine is also got completed. So the custom script one that we have created. It is now it's creating the key vault for our deployment, like the way we can able to encrypt our virtual machine. So it is deploying that part. Till it is happening, we can go ahead and see the virtual machine that is newly created. Okay, go to the virtual machine. We have the custom VM. So inside the extension, now you can able to see the dog agent got installed on that virtual machine. So even if you go ahead and RDP into this instance, you can able to see that it was running in that part. Like you can just go ahead and RDP into the instance, and you can able to see the Datadog running in your application. So from here you can able to install the custom script, and there are different script that is available. So based upon your requirement, you can choose different script and use it for your application. Let's see the virtual machine skill sets. So from here only we wanted to talk about the automation, like how we can able to scale and scale down our application. So we can able to create the skill set. Let's see how it's work in the demo. Let's create Windows Enterprise. Select the web demo RG and give a skill set name VM scale set. Okay. And from below we can able to specify the same things, like the same orchestration that we have, like what images we want to create. So let's say we wanted to add Windows Server 2019, so we can select Windows Server 2019, then we can give username. So my name will be same as your user, password will be then we can go ahead on disk. One more thing, like you can expect in the question that even with the scale set you can bring your own license. So you can expect question on this part, like how we can able to use a high availability feature with the cost saving part. So you can able to do that by saying that okay, we can able to bring our own license for the hybrid benefit. So this is a very important question, I would say, for the exam. Then here also the same features that you have seen on the virtual machine, that will be there. There are a couple of more things where we want to get focused, and the rest is the same that we have seen in our virtual machine. So we are not going to do much for that. Yeah, so here is the main scaling option. So here we can initialize, like what is the minimum number of instance that we want, like how much instance we want currently. Okay, so let's say I want one instance, and here you can select the scaling option. Like one option is that manual. We said that okay, let's say if the CPU utilization will go 70% above, I will create one more instance. But it's not a fun, right, to go ahead every time set ideal just to do uh, just to sit there and create a virtual machine. We have other works, right? We want to focus on our development or more projects. We just don't want to sit there to see, okay, if the CPU utilization going above 70%, I'm going to create a new virtual machine. So here is the custom one. So you can define the minimum number of instance. So let's say what is the minimum number of instance at a particular time you want. Let's say you have a big application, and at least minimum you want that at least 4 virtual machines should be running. So you can set it for 4, and maximum instance you can set for, like, let's say okay, if my virtual machine go above 75%, increase more instances, like add 4 instances or 5 instances. And how you gonna scale out based upon the CPU. Let's say you can say that if the CPU utilization go above 75%, create one more virtual machine. Let's say for this demo we can reduce this to 30%, but it is not an ideal way. But to see in the demo we can create it. Like for that, like let's say the virtual machine goes above 30% CPU utilization, it will create one more instance. Okay, so duration of time, there is minimum 5 we have to set up. So, and how many instances you want to create. Let's say if the CPU got increased by increased threshold by 30, how much more instance you want to create. You can add like 4 instance, 3 instance, 1 instance. So in our scenario we will be adding 1 instance. Here is the update policy, how we want to update. Even you can enable health check for this virtual machines, the skill set. There is nothing more to change here. We can just go ahead and create our virtual machine. So now it's a scalable deployment of virtual machine. You have seen this, like now based upon the application it used, the virtual machine got number of virtual machine got increased. Let's say if the CPU utilization goes above 30%, it will add one more instance for our application. So by this way, you can able to automate the process of adding virtual machines. So now it's going to do the deployment. And I guess I have covered most of the part. Yes, we have covered most of the things that is required for this lecture. But couple of things you need to know, like, okay, yeah, disk encryption was going on. So we have created the disk. Let's say now we have to add a key also. So we have to create new keys also. So for this, you can go ahead and create key that you have to attach on this virtual machine. And this way you can able to do the encryption or a virtual machine. So you can expect a couple of questions from this part only, like how to encrypt a virtual machine. So you have to create a key vault. Now if you go inside the key vault, let me go there. So here, let me search for key vault. You can see the key vault is already created, but we don't have any key. So let's go ahead and create one key. Now we have created the key. So we have to refresh the page. So like it is not yet visible because we are doing it in a different page. So we again have to like refresh this page to see it. Let me just refresh it once so that we can see it. We are not going to do the complete deployment for this because it take like 10 minutes to deploy the key vault and the key vault encryption to be enabled. So we are not going to do the complete deployment, but I will show you that it will be get created so that you can go ahead and take it forward. Let's say I want to deploy the data disk. Here the disk is already available. I'm going to select the disk. Uh, Still not showing the key. We need data action. Okay, so okay, there is a problem with my subscription. What is that? Like I haven't enabled key vault because like I haven't created any key earlier till now. So to use it in application, I need to enable the key vault access in our virtual machine. So I have to register this service key vault, and how it was done is you can go ahead in your subscription. Though this was a subscription that was provided by the Azure community for the demo purpose, so I haven't enabled all the services in that. So here in the resource provider, the key vault, it's registered. It's still registered. I guess it was not yet updated. That was the reason it is not showing the key in the virtual machine. Otherwise, the virtual machine key would have been available there only so that you can go ahead and deploy your do the encryption part of your virtual machine. Okay, so this is it for this lecture. I don't have anything more to show on the demo part, and we have covered all the topic from the PPT also. And we have like a 20-minute left. So now it's time for question. Let me add, let's see the questions so that we can take questions one by one. Mm, By encrypt. Okay, so I'm starting here. Where we have left. Let me see. There is a lot of questions here. So let me add someone in the chat so that if there is any questions he can add. If Mansha, you are there, so you can come on the live chat to take the questions. Because there is a lot of question. Can I isolate and protect virtual machine? Okay, we have covered this question. Is Azure overtaking AWS? If one has started his career in cloud, should he move forward deep diving into Azure tech or switch to AWS is better? So there is a question from Gaurav: is Azure overtaking AWS? If one has started with their career with Azure cloud, he has moved forward in deep diving into Microsoft tech, or switch to AWS is better. So I'm not going to say like this cloud is bad or this cloud is good. Definitely not. Each cloud, these both the company are giant in the cloud and they are shaping the world. Now we have seen that the cloud is the future, and definitely both the companies are doing quite great. But if you have already started with a particular cloud provider, go a little bit deep, understand the topics, understand how it's work in real world scenario, rather than just going on a demo part. Think how it's get applicable in a real world application and how it should be used in an application. So go ahead and do that. Then only you can go ahead and try multi-cloud also. Definitely it's a good habit to have a multi-cloud knowledge also, so I would definitely recommend that part. But before going into multi-cloud knowledge, just focus on a particular cloud that you have already started and complete the things. Do couple of certification. Please tell what Azure architecture asking in interview. uh, I'm not able to understand the question. Mainly they don't ask for architecture if you're a fresher, but yeah, having a good understanding of visualization is a good habit. So if you have a visualization aspect, like how particular resource get created inside a virtual machine, definitely it's going to add a lot of value in your uh, skill, and during the interview definitely it will be the skill that will be highlighted more. But if you are going for, let's say, if you're not a fresher, if you're already in the IT industry, and if you're trying for going for solutions architect role, definitely it will be the key thing that will be asked during the interview. They will definitely give you a scenario and ask you what type of architecture you will prefer, and that time you have to think about what service you are using, and you have a solid proof of concept, like why you want to use that. Let's say you are saying for this application I want to go for container based application, so you have a, like, you need to have a proper proof that why you want to do that. So that type of question you may expect. What is the weightage of this lesson in AZ-104? You can expect 20 to 25% question, like 15 to 20% definitely direct question. But even in a networking concept, you are going to ask question in terms of VM only, like how the VM is deployed, or let's say they will say that okay, one VM is deployed on this virtual network, and this different VM is deployed on another virtual machine, virtual network, in a private virtual network. Let's say, let me give you a scenario, basic scenario. You have a two-tier application. Your web server is hosted on a public subnet, and your database server is hosted on a private server. Definitely you don't want your database service to be available on a public IP address or an internet, but you want to enable the connection between the private virtual network and public virtual network, so that your virtual machine get connected. So how you going to do it? So this type of question you can expect in the interview. So definitely prepare for this type of questions for the interview part. There was service health is used for checking. Yeah, definitely AWS service health is used for checking planned downtime. uh, that is a dashboard that is available, where you can able to, even you can see that if a particular service is down in a particular region, so you can have a complete analysis on that. I would also like to check about availability set. When you create an availability set, create an availability set. Okay, so when you want to create availability set, basically when you want your application to be highly available, let's say you have an enterprise based application that even don't, like, let's say want to be highly available in terms of keeping it in a particular data center itself, but to be available in a multiple format, let's say in a multiple racks or a multiple system in an isolated manner. In that scenario, you can go ahead and go with the availability set option. Placement, deployment, and update domain placement is that the VM placement, field domain and update domain placement is automatically placed by Azure. So definitely, like as there is update is coming, definitely the update domain and fault domain going to change. Like if there is a planned maintenance, you will be automatically notified, but there can be a scenario that there will be some unplanned maintenance that happened, there is some failure at their side or any such scenario happened. So in such scenario, you can definitely expect a little bit of downtime in a particular rack or a particular system if there is no whole data center goes down. So if there is particular rack goes down, still your application will be available if you have a uh, uh, multiple skill set deployment. Yeah. So yeah, definitely it is in the same data center. So skill set deploy or your virtual machine in the same data set itself. It is not going to deploy in multiple AZ, because for that we have multi AZ deployment. Yeah, definitely you can install, create a scale set by using custom images. You can define a particular image and you can upload the image in automation template. There is a service called automation. From that, using that service, you can able to go ahead and create a custom use scale set to create from the custom images itself. How can a VM is created by means of Azure CLI? So yeah, like you can able to find uh, commands, like you can just search uh, Azure VM creation CLI, and there is a tons of document that is already available on Azure. So yeah, so the see, this is the command to create a resource group. You can create a resource group by specifying the location. You can create a and this is the CLI command, AZVM create resource group, and you have to give your resource group name, then give a VM name, image, what type of image you want to install. That can be Windows Server 2019, Ubuntu server, or any other server. IP SKU, standard or premium, you can select. Admin username you have to provide, so you can provide username for that virtual machine. So by using this CLI command, you can able to install. You can able to create a virtual machine using CLI. And definitely, I would highly recommend to see the commands for CLI as well PowerShell, because there can be scenario that you have given some particular question and it is asked that is it a correct CLI or not to create a particular thing. So you have to troubleshoot that part, and definitely you can expect a couple of questions. There is we have installed this internet information service, right? So that you can able to do with the script also, the CLI command itself. So you can able to create a script, or you can just run the CLI command also to create a web server, and you can open the port 80 also from CLI also. So CLI is a great way if you have to do a lot of automation and do a lot of management, because going to the portal and doing everything is going to be quite tough sometime. So it was highly recommend to have a basic knowledge of CLI to go ahead and try different things. So yeah, definitely I would highly recommend to do this all the things that we have discussed today in with the CLI also, as well as with PowerShell also. And just one more thing, whatever you can able to do with command line, sorry, with going on to the console, you can able to do it in using CLI as well as PowerShell also. If I reduce my skill set capacity from 20 to 15, which VM will be removed? So there is also a different ways, like which VM will be removed. So first thing is the VM which will be running for the longest time, that will be removed by default. But you can able to set the custom things also. Let's say the oldest patched image will be removed first, or the virtual machine which is longest running will be removed first. So that will be configurable part. There are 2 or 3 options that are already available in Azure, from which you can able to choose that part. Can you choose to remove oldest VM first? Yeah, definitely you can able to do it. You can able to decide that the oldest VM that is running or the oldest past VM that are running will be removed first from the skill set. Yeah, and yeah, definitely we all can connect with each other to share knowledge. Definitely this is the main intention of having community, because what we are doing, we can't learn everything sitting for a 2 hour session or a 1 hour session, and it must be a consecutive way. Like, let's say if I have something to share, definitely I would go ahead, and if you want to share something, definitely I'm seeing the chat. It is quite active chat, so very impressed with seeing the chat. So amazing work. Definitely the way we are doing it, definitely it's going to help more people. Whatever the question you are asking, whatever the answer you are giving, it is going to help other people. Same people may have the same question. So uh, definitely it will be a great way. What is the subscription needed for this? I'm not able to get for which subscription, but for to do the common demo, definitely normal pay as you go, or even if you are a student, you can use a normal student account also. You can able to perform all the things. But even those who don't have the subscription, by the end of this boot camp, we are providing to a couple of people with the Microsoft passes, with having a $50 credit, so that you can go ahead and able to perform your all the labs or whatever we are doing after this session. But I would highly recommend create your personal account. If you're a student, use your college ID. If you're a working professional, you can create a free tier account and practice whatever we are learning, because without doing that, you can't able to expect getting into a good product based cloud company. So because they will ask you scenario, like I was given scenario, I was placed on a Microsoft Azure console and asked to do this part, do this thing. An interviewer was just sitting and seeing it whether I can able to do it in the cloud or not. Like, and there was most of the question are surround on Azure VMs, networking, storage. So these are the core services I would say focus more, because you can expect a lot of question in the interviews also, at the same time in the certification exam that we are giving on these topics. Which version of Windows Server I manage with Windows Admin Center? So you can, like, it was available I guess from Windows Server 2019. I'm not yet sure about Windows Server 2016, but 2019 and 2022 server you can able to do with Windows Admin Center. What are the default number of concurrent user for Azure VMs? Define the number of concurrent connection as per our need. Yeah, so it totally depend upon the type of virtual machine you are selecting. Let's say if you are selecting Windows Server virtual machine, then we have multiple concurrent collection. Even I'm not sure about the number, but we have like 50 or kuch, I'm not yet sure about the number, but there is high, because this Windows Server intention, the intention of creating Windows Server was to have a centralized system where all the client user go ahead and use that service or exploit that particular service. So there is a lot of concurrent user you can able to connect. I'm not yet sure about the number, but yeah, and also there is option to increase the limit also. So if you reach the limit, you can ask Microsoft to increase your limit for the concurrent connection, but that is paid. Like, to increase like after a default number of connection, you can have to increase the you have to pay for each connection. So replacement for all the traditional inbox. Yeah, definitely Windows Admin Center is going to be the next central focus for all the system administrator or the people who want to solve the problems in terms of Azure or isolate the problem. It will be the center where to see and track all the records. Get a personal account with Azure. Yeah, definitely I would highly recommend, if you create any virtual machine or any resources, definitely go ahead and delete that, or at least keep it in a stop way, stop manner only, so that otherwise you can incur a lot of cost. So this is all I can see in the chat. Mansha, if I forget any question, you can let me know. or we can move ahead with the result announcement and for this week, and also we can go ahead with the uh, quiz for today's session.
Yeah. Saurav, it was definitely an incredible session. I can see a lot of questions there. I think you missed two actually, and the question was, please explain the key difference between Azure VM and Azure VM skill set.
Okay. So basically, Azure VM is a single virtual machine, and using VM skill set, you can able to assign a scaling group. And what that mean is, let's say your workload got increased. So in that scenario, what will happen that virtual machine skill set is going to create a replica of your virtual machine, a multiple virtual machine, so that you can handle that peak workload also at a higher workload time. And when there is no requirement of that virtual machine, it will tear down. So that is the option of scale in and scale out, and it follow horizontal scaling. So definitely keep in mind that scale set use horizontal scaling.
So yeah, I think the rest of the questions have been answered by the amazing audience as well. So we
Yeah, thanks,
can
thanks
move
everyone,
towards.
those who are answering the answer. So
Yeah.
thank you. Your help will be appreciated, and this way only we all can sit and learn together. And this was the intention of organizing such a boot camp, uh, to interact with each other, get a chance to know about each other, and take these connections forward, so that even we can organize some in-person event also at some particular location, and we can meet. Or even in the social media, we are living in the world of social media, right? So we can connect on LinkedIn, Twitter, or any other platform also, to discuss any further question that we can have. So without wasting time, because we are already approx 2 hours, so let me just come up with the announcement. Like, you all are must be excited for the winner of last week challenge, and today we have a quiz. So for that, let me just start with announcement. So first we will announce the winner for the last week, then we will go ahead and do the quiz for this week. Okay, let me open in slideshow. Uh, I hope you all are excited. Can we see some excitement in the chat? If you
Yeah, I
have
will
learned
not announce
something,
the winner.
yeah,
There
it's
is no
always the same.
excitement. Yeah.
Because I'm going to stop it on the page two only, the week two winners, those who are already announced.
So how's the Josh, guys?
So this was the week three winner, and we already had the week three winner. Can we have week four? Is it the time?
I think yes.
Mansha,
Yes,
what
Saurav,
say?
they are equally excited. We can announce the winners.
Okay, then this was the week four challenge, and after going through all the blocks, here are the winner. So congratulations everyone, those who won for this challenge, and those who yet didn't won. Like, we are tracking all everyone who is participating in the chat and participating in the live session. So also doing the challenges that we assigned. So definitely you can expect your name in the upcoming weeks. We will make sure those who are coming on a regular basis, attending the session and doing the challenges that we are delivering. If that you are doing that part, definitely you can expect your name in any week, like in the upcoming any week. So definitely don't lose hope if you yet didn't win, because it's just a start. It's just a middle of the boot camp. What all the we seen that it was just week four winners. From today onward, we started with the week five, and we have till week eight. So we have a lot of time, and we are getting a lot of goodies, lot of support from Microsoft side and the WizLab side. So definitely you can expect more more name in the coming weeks. And also those who won the boot challenge, you have to keep on contributing for other things. When I say other things, that include the uh, certification voucher, AWS passes, Microsoft passes, Microsoft credit passes, as well as WizLab subscription. And we have two flavor of WizLab subscription. That is, for the top 5 performer, we have 1 year subscription for all the WizLabs courses for free. And for top 50, we have 1 month subscription. And also, top 5 will be getting some great goodies from from WizLab side also. And I hope you all have must seen the core team of Azure developer community was getting the goodies from WizLab side. So you can expect the same goodies for you also for the top 5 performers. So this was the now coming to the week 5. So today we are going to have a quiz, and then the same challenge will be continuing right on the blogging part. So you have to write the blog and tag as your developer community with labs. You can tag me also. So this will be the week 5 challenge and the Kahoot. So we are going to combine the winners from both the Kahoot as well as the blog. Just a couple of rules. The one who already won the Microsoft goodies, uh, that person will not be applicable for winning the goodies from the quiz, because the goodies is same. But you have to uh, do the quiz, because if you win, you will be considered for WizLabs goodies. WizLabs goodies and subscription. So it will be not sure. It will be, but it will get, you will be getting some points, additional point, if you win the quiz on the Kahoot. Or the people who will be winning, that if their name is not already on the winning list for the blog, definitely they will be getting goodies. So I will like to hand over to Mansa to go ahead and do the quiz part. Over to you, Mansa.
Yeah, thank you so much, Saurav. So, before beginning the quiz, let me introduce you all to what Kahoot is. Kahoot is basically an online quiz platform where we will be having few questions, and the one who will answer the questions first, or like it's just the fastest finger first, and the winner will be receiving the goodies. So, I'll be sharing my screen and the link with you all. So kindly join it from the device, and please make sure that you join the quiz with your email ID. Then only we'll be able to track you for the goodies. Yeah. So I'll be sharing my
And just
screen.
one more thing, in the your name, just use your name only. Don't use any random name, because last time we got confused when we organized Kahoot based quiz. So use your complete name. Okay, if not the complete name, at least use your first name so that we can able to track.
So I think my screen is visible. Or can I please get a confirmation?
Yeah, now it's visible.
Yeah. So I'll be sharing the link with you all. Please make sure to join it. Also, the game pin has been shared on the screen itself. You can join it through the pin as well. I will be waiting for 5 more minutes, so kindly join everyone.
uh, Mancha, I get there will be a different link to join the Kahoot. So yeah.
Yeah, they have joined, I think.
Okay, yeah, they have started joining. If anyone facing any issue, please let us know in the chat. No, you don't have to create the account. You can just go on kahoot.it. So you can just use to log into the using the pin itself, the pin that you are seeing in the top. www.kahoot.it. You can search and enter the pin.
Yeah, no worries, we'll wait for a minute. And Join. Yeah, Rajesh KVM, you have to just join on the link like www.kahoot.it and enter the game pin there.
Anish, just search for www.kahoot.it. The link is shared in the chat itself. Just use that. You can able to enter the. It will ask for pin. You can enter 283 6000, and you will be entered into the game. Use the link kahoot.it. Gaurav, if you still confused, you can use the same link kahoot.it.
Guys, just open the link www.kahoot.it and enter the game pin. So we'll be waiting for 3 more minutes and then I think we can begin with the quiz, Saurav. What
Yeah,
say?
definitely.
Yeah.
Uh, Rajesh game pin is given the chat itself, and you can also able to see on the screen 283 6000. Just last minute, guys. Join in fast. Uh, Gaurav, if you have joined it, maybe it will take little bit time on on the screen, but
Gaurav, your name is
you must.
visible now.
Yeah, okay. Your name is visible.
Yes, sir.
So if anyone left, please let us know. Otherwise, we will start in 30 seconds. So just like what will happen, you will going to see the question on the screen, and you have to answer it. Like in your screen, you are not going to see the question. You are just going to see four colors depicting the options that are shown on on the screen. So you have to see both the screens: the screen where you have to answer it, and the screen where the question will be shown. Okay. I guess Mansha, we can start now.
Yeah, I think we can start with the quiz. So I hope all of you are joined. I'm starting it in 3 seconds. So three,
All the best,
two,
everyone.
1, and here you go. What is the maximum number of VMs ScaleSet supports? You have 30 seconds to answer the question. Just see the color on the screen and then mark the same color on your devices. And remember, it is the fastest finger first. So the one who will answer first will be receiving the maximum number of points.
Guys, fast, fast, fast.
3, 2, 1. Yeah. So and the correct answer was 1012 were the correct answers. 12 people gave the correct answer.
It
So
was
let's
in
see the
the PPT
scoreboard
itself.
now. So Anirudh
Anirudh,
Sharma is on top.
congratulations.
So the next question: which extension downloads and runs scripts on Azure virtual machines?
Guys, please do it right. I have shown this in the demo itself.
3, 2, 1, and yeah. So the correct answer was custom script extension, and many of us gave the answer right. So let's see the scoreboard again. And yeah, so now Apurva is on the top. Congratulations. Let's move to the next question. So it's a multi-correct question, so make sure to mark all the correct options. What is the role of Azure Spot instance?
Guys, this is a little bit tricky
Be
one.
fast. 5 more seconds left. So yeah. So these were the correct options. Let's see the change in the scoreboard again. Now we have again Anirudh Sharma with us. So let's move to the next question. The second last one, make sure to count it. What is one advantage of utilizing RDP to the virtual machine scale set instances? I think this has been discussed in the session only. All the questions were discussed.
Yeah. Those who are not giving the correct answer, I'm doubting them. And doubting myself also.
No, Saurav, your session was absolutely amazing. I think those who have not given the correct answer, they were here for goodies only.
No, no, everyone is here for to learn, I guess.
I hope. So let's see the scoreboard again. So now we have Vaishnavi on the top.
Oh, yeah. Changes.
There is a high change
I'm
in the
pretty much
scoreboard.
excited.
So this one is the last question, guys. So make sure to mark it now. Which of the following statements about auto scaling is false? There's only 15 seconds left. So I think this was a tricky one.
Oh,
So we got only 6 correct. So, yeah. Are you all ready to see the results now?
I guess everyone
Saurav, should
answered the
I?
correct one. It was the question which is false.
Yeah, I
Which of the
think.
following statement about auto scaling is false?
So Saurav,
So,
shall I show
okay.
the answers and the winners now?
Yeah, I am pretty much excited. What about others?
Same.
Are you guys excited? Can we see some excitement in the chat? And before excitement, can we see some likes on the video? Video has like 43 are watching, only 27 people have liked it. Oh my god. कोई बात नहीं.
So I think it's time to show the winners now. And let's see who our top 3 winners are.
Guys, show some excitement.
Congratulations, Apoor. Yeah, congratulations, Aniket. So
Oh, Anirudh. Anirudh is on the top.
congratulations, guys.
I hope you all have must registered to the bootcamp because then only we can able to track your names. So I hope you all have registered. The one who have won today must have registered for the event and also attending the bootcamps. Like so, make sure to do the challenge. So this is the only three winner guys, and we have more winners this week also. So make sure to write the blog the same way you did for the other sessions. This time focus on virtual machine itself, and go ahead and write a blog on virtual machine, use cases of virtual machine. So you can think about anything related to virtual machine and write a particular blog. We have shown some great demos also, so you can write blog on that part also. And if you like the session, definitely before going concluding the session, give a thumbs up to the session so that it get reached to more people, and also share with your connections if you want, so that it will be helpful to the more people, and we can able to help more people in the community. So that was our intention. We are also sitting on the Saturday to help more people learn and upskill about cloud. So definitely help us reach more people. This is it from my side. Back to your Mancha once again.
So yeah, with the same motive of public learning and growing together as one, I, Mansha Batra, would like to take your leave with a promise to meet again this coming Saturday with another session full of learnings and prizes. Also, I would like to congratulate all the winners again of the weekly challenges. Wish you a great luck for the blog part, and please make sure to fill the Google form by Friday 12 p.m. So thank you, Saurav, for an insightful session, and thank you everyone for joining us with us.
Thank you everyone. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Mancha.